We are in Parshat Shemot. We are starting in the second Aliyah because for those who want the first Aliyah, you have 2 years worth of tapes out there. And go to rabbineville.com, YouTube channel Rabbi Neville, and you'll see just Parshat Shemot, and then Shemot with actually a name for the second year. And in both of those years, I spoke about the first Aliyah. I think I've covered that pretty well at this point. So let's go to the second Aliyah. The reason I like the second Aliyah the most at this juncture is because he's going to talk about the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay? So that starts on page 294 with the second Aliyah. So what happens? If you remember, until then, Pharaoh was told that one of the Jewish people are going to be the Mashiach. Not the Mashiach, but we'll take them out of Egypt. So he said secretly to kill all the boys. That's what he had said. He had instructed the two Jewish midwives to Pua and Shifra. Thank you. To kill all if you see a boy there, kill them. The girl, let them be saved. Yeah, that's your question.
No, we're the only two.
No, they may have been the heads of it. I'm not sure. That's probably what it was. They're probably the head nurse, if you will, head midwives. But nonetheless, they were in charge. So Pharaoh talks to them and says very nicely that this is what you have to do. But it was not made a public proclamation. Again, the reason for that, I refer you back to the other two classes. So now we come to, and of course they did not do it because they feared God. So we come to Yud Chet. I'm going to run through this a little quick until I get to where I actually want to get, but just so you should have it, the storyline in proper place. So Vayikra Melech Mitzrayim Lamiltot. So the king of Mitzrayim said to the midwives, and he said to them, why did you do this thing? What's this thing? And allow the children to live. Why did you do that? You should have killed them. I told you, kill the boys. You didn't kill the boys. What would they say? So the midwife said to Paro, because the women the Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. Why? What's the difference? Because they're animals. If I just translate literally, because they're animals. Why? Before the midwife can come to them, they already give birth. Which Rashi explains, they are experts like handmaidens. That's the simple way to understand it, okay? They know what, as a matter of fact, everybody says that. Shaforno also says they are Bekiya, they are experts in how to give birth, and more than that, so they don't have to call anybody, and that's the end of it. Fine.
They don't translate that.
What do they translate it as?
Hichayos.
What do they translate it as? It says... Well, because people were not, for their experts. You're going with Rashi. Right. Okay, fine. But
is it the Hebrew women who are...
The Hebrew women. Right?
The Hebrew women are experts and know how to give birth. Yes.
Who are the animals?
What? What the Pua and Shifra were telling the king was the Hebrew women are like animals, which Rashi explains that they are, which means they're experts in giving birth. They don't need.
The Hebrew women are like.
The Hebrew women are like animals.
And it's much more natural to them. That I thought he was talking about the Egyptians.
No. But by the way, if you think about how they're saying it, also, it's insulting because instead of just saying they're experts. They're experts. He says they say that they're like animals. So, sorry.
Speaking Pharaoh's language.
Well, they could be speaking Pharaoh's language, or they could be just insulting. Rashi having that problem, saying why didn't they just say they're experts, brings down another the midrash, which says that they are compared to animals. Why? By their grandfather or the great grandfather. That it says that Gor Aryeh, that Yehuda would be like a lion, and Binyamin would be like a wolf, and so on and so forth. So their own people talk, their own patriarch talked to them like they're animals, compared them to the animals. So it could have been that they're living up to their name. And just as an animal doesn't need a midwife, they also don't need midwives. They give birth before we come. That's another way to understand it. Another way to understand this, and I forget where I saw this.
Oh, this is recent. Yeah, he want to know why they.
Why are you allowing them to live?
Because we didn't have anything to do with it.
We couldn't get there fast enough.
Yeah,
so then,
right, giving birth. There it is.
Right. So the Sforno says even one more thing. Because they're experts, he says if we tried to do something that wasn't proper, they wouldn't call us anymore, because they know what we're doing. So they know what has to be done. You know, if you look on the movies, if you remember the old thing of when a baby is, when a woman is about to give birth, so what do they say? Boil some water and get some towels, right? Remember that from all the westerns? Whenever there would be somebody, you have to boil water, you have to do this, you have to do that. And so the old joke was that, of course, those things never really happen when you're giving birth. So I can tell you that for a fact. They didn't boil water when my babies. I have 3 babies. They didn't boil water, and they didn't get the rags. You know, but that was something that was the old style of claiming that's what you do. So here, if they're going to say something crazy, then they're saying they were experts, unlike the Egyptians, who apparently just went to the midwives and do what they wouldn't have known anything. So that's what they claim is.
Like today, I mean, what do we do today? You run to the hospital right away. Period.
Today it depends on who you are, because some women
broke water. I gotta get to the hospital.
No, but many women will take along with the husbands will go to the birthing classes, what they call lamaz,
where the husband's
right.
present.
So and then we'll see the videos, and we'll know what's supposed to happen.
You still go to the hospital.
We go to the hospital, but again, we're not ignorant as to
Most
what
people don't birth at home. Yeah.
No, but we're saying we're not ignorant as to what's going on.
Yeah.
We're pretty educated as to what you have to do and in reality. So again, we're no longer in the waiting room smoking cigarettes and giving out cigars. We're usually in the operating room or wherever the birthing room is. And depending on what you're going on, it may be a C-section or natural birth. Normally the husband is there holding the woman's hand. So again, we're no longer like they were in the old days. And if you have a midwife, some people still have midwives. They call them medullas or something.
They don't want the husband in there.
All right, so that's something else. But even there, I think they have the husband there, even with the midwife. Yeah. But again, I don't know. We went through the normal channels. So what happens is Vayetev. As a result of all this,
I just find it interesting that they use the word Vayikra, so you can understand the word Vayikra. In other words, in several different ways. I was going to say.
Where's Vayikra? Oh, he called Moshe.
He called her, proclaimed, but it's translating here as summoned. So that's what he called. In other words,
correct. Right. So then he goes in 20. Vayetev Elokim li'Eldot. So Hashem made good, if you will, for the birth for the midwives. Vayirev ha'am v'yasmu'od. As a result of what they did, and Hashem was being good, what did he do? He increased the nation and made it strong. So Vayihi ki yaru ha'me'eldot Elokim. So it was when the the midwives feared Hashem. Hashem made for them houses. What does that mean? So Rashi says, I'll just go very quickly through for Rashi. Rashi says they made Bate Kahuna, the houses for the Kohen and Levi, and also Malchut came from them. Shifra would be the Shifra is really Miriam, I believe. So Miriam marries Kalev, and so on and so forth. It gets Yehuda. Kalev, I think she somehow gets Kalev. Kalev is Yehuda, right? Kalev ben Yefuna. I'm pretty sure he's from tribe Yehuda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, am I right? He's from Yehuda. It's Rashi. Well, wait. So Rashi says Kahuna via Leviah Miyuchevet, Malchut Miriam. There you go. So that's what I'm saying. So Kahuna and Leviah come from Miyuchevet, which is Pua, and Malchut comes from Miriam, which is Shifra. Okay, fine. So that's what he means by building houses.
Does it explain why they use the name Pua and Shifra?
Yeah, the reason for Pua, Rashi explained was was from the last 2 years. The Rashi says Shifra was some Shifra. Pua she would be talking with the children, so she was taking care of them, as compared to Shifra, where she was making them beautiful, so on and so forth. Yeah. Hey, Tzaddik, come on in. Hashem, what? These are the midwives. He asked why the names. Why, in other words, why weren't they called Yocheved and Miriam? Come on, it's Parsha. Sit down. Have a good.
The kids have the keys to the room.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
The other names, are those Egyptian names?
Say it again.
Are those Egyptian names?
No, not necessarily. That's what maybe. I'm not sure, but not necessarily.
Wait, is Moshe an Egyptian name?
Moshe is going to be. That will be that's a Hebrew name.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they call it?
We're going to come to that. You have to let me come to that. You're stopping me in the middle of the story here. Okay, so Vayitzav Paro l'chol ha'am more. So now, Paro commanded to his whole nation, saying, Kol habein hayolod, every single male, every single son that is born, haya'ora tashichu, throw it into the Nile. And all the daughters you should let live. Now what happens here? Rashi says, Rashi says, Afalem Gazar, even on the Egyptians, this was a decree. It wasn't just on the Jews. Every single male baby born that particular day should be thrown into that. Why? Because Yom Shinol at Moshe, the day that Moshe was born, the astrologer said to him, today the baby that is going to save them was born. But we do not know if it's from Mitzrayim, if it's an Egyptian, or if it's from the Jews. And we see that in the end it would be smitten by water. Therefore, he decreed on that day, even on the Egyptians, that any baby boy that was born should be thrown into the Nile. And it does not say any Hebrew boy that is born, because they didn't know. That's Rashi's way of saying it. Nobody else brings that down. Everybody else says, like Unklos says, V'yilit Yehuda ben Arad, it was a Jewish baby that was born. Everybody else wants to go with the Jewish baby, but Rashi is very particular on the verse that says, V'chol habein hayolod, any child, any son that is born. So that's what he says. Yeah. Baby out with the bathwater, correct. Okay, now let's go. Now here we go, and we're getting to the major part that I want to hit on. So we have a man from the house of Levi that is going to be Amram, but we don't identify Amram here. We're going to only identify Amram in chapter 6. So we're not going to hear from him for a little while. As a matter of fact, the entire parsha, we never know who the parents are until we come to parsha Ve'era. So anyway, Vayelech ish mibeit Levi v'yikach et bat Levi, and he took the daughter of Levi. Now this, according to many people, is literally the daughter of Levi, which makes her quite old. She is 130 years old. Okay, and he's really marrying his aunt.
But it says,
okay.
It doesn't say the daughter of Levi.
Well, that's why it's a question. It says that. How does he say it here? God,
yeah, he does.
He says the daughter of Levi. No,
she was
he took a literal. There you go. He says a man went from Levi and he took a daughter of Levi. That's what it says. A daughter. Okay, not that daughter.
But
fine.
You could understand either.
Well, Levi didn't have so many daughters.
Of the original Levi, or
right.
of the tribe of Levi.
You could understand either way. Yes. Okay. So, like I said, she gives birth at the age of 130. So she was quite an old lady when she was married by. Yeah.
So is that how we understand it? That it actually is a daughter of the.
Well, again, that's the argument.
Levi.
That's the argument. We do understand it that way. Yes, okay. Most people will go that way. That it's originally the daughter of is Amram and Yocheved, no?
Yeah.
Well, but
Yeah.
so actually, the way bringing back to the grammar,
Yeah.
so Levi is a proper name, so you don't need the definite article in front of it. So is it Bas Levi? You wouldn't say
Correct.
Bas HaLevi.
Correct. As a matter of fact, I keep and go further with that to say the daughter of Levi because there's et bat Levi. Et is a direct object,
The
right?
definite article.
Right. So there you go. So I don't know why they're saying a daughter of Levi.
Oh.
That you would have to ask. You'd have to ask
Oh.
Art Scroll where they got
Okay.
the A from. Okay.
Interesting.
Let's go because I still,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't want to get caught up in the that part. But Tara Isha. Now the woman became pregnant, Vatela Bain, and she bore a son. Strange next. You have to look in the pasuk to see what's coming up. It's so important. Vatera oto kitovu, and she saw him that he was good. But this paneu shloshi rachim, and she hid him for 3 months. What mother ever sees a child and says, "Oh, that's ugly"?
Well, I mean, you can see a child saying,
No, every mother considers their kid beautiful.
Of course.
I know, but if you see a stillborn, like, oh. Okay.
It's still, but it's not. So it's not good. It's
You go,
dead.
"Oh, but
You're not going to go. You're not going to say, "Oh, look, I have it. It's stillborn." You're not going to do that. You're going to bury him. The point is, she saw him that it was good. So why is she? And then why did she hide it for 3 months?
No.
That's another question. So Rashi says in this, Kitov. So it says Rashi goes for the midrash here. He says Kishanolad, when he was born, Nitmaleha by Kulo Ora, the whole entire house was filled with light. Why would he say that? Because what did Hashem say when light was created? Vaya Kitov, it was good. So therefore, light, good, baby, born. Okay, fine. That's Rashi's coming to say it was good. The simple explanation, Dasikanim. He explains, when he was born after 6 months. Notice he was not a full-term baby. 6 months. Now we have a rule that if it's born in the 7th month, then it's going to be a viable birth. If it's born in the 8th month, then it's a nafel. It's not a viable birth. And the 9th month, of course, is a viable birth. So what happens in the 6th month, or the 5th, or the whatever? Okay, what happens to the preemie? Now today,
I mean, my dad was born 5 weeks before.
That's nothing. That's
8 months.
yeah, okay. So today, because of our medicines and everything else, incubation, we don't deal with those months anymore. But here, what's the difference? In the 7th month, the baby was fully formed. In the 8th month, the baby wasn't fully formed. And that's why he would die. It wasn't the respiratory system. So that's why, by the way, even when they're born early, they keep in the hospital and they watch them very carefully, as compared to the 9-month-old, the full-term baby, which they're not so concerned with. I mean, he's pretty mature. Let's go, okay? But it's so even today we're still we watch, okay? But here it's 6 months. So what it says, Dasikanim says, what happens? Kissavar, when she thought maybe he's an aphel, maybe he's not a viable birth. And then she looked at his fingers to see if, the fingernails, are they complete or aren't they complete? In other words, is he fully formed or not? That's what she's looking at. So that would be a siman that if he was, that's a sign that he is a viable birth. And once she saw that, she said, "Oh, he's good to go, and he's going to be he's a viable birth. He's going to live." As a result of that, she hid him for 3 months. Why 3 months? Because when would the Egyptians come to look for them?
At 9 months.
After the 9th month. So now she can keep him hidden for 3 months. Okay, that's the simple explanation as to what's going on there. She saw it because nobody would ever look at a child and say, I mean, no normal person looks at a child and says, "Oh, that's ugly," or whatever. Everybody sees a child as beautiful. So when the Torah says that, you can either say that he filled the house with light, and so on and so forth, but you don't have to go that far. You don't have to go with the midrash as compared to just a simple explanation of he was a preemie. And she wasn't sure if he was a viable birth. Once she sees that everything's fully formed, okay, now I can rest. Now I can nurse him, do what I have to do. I can hide him for 3 months, and then that'll be good. Fine. There's a lot of other things you can say about this, but let's hold there. So then we go on, and Valoyach la'ol hatzpino. So now she can no longer hide him. Why? Because the Egyptians are now going to look for him. And that's what Rashi says. Rashi kicks into Pshat again and says that the Egyptians counted from the day that she was taken back as a wife, and she gave birth. And since she gave birth to 6 months and 1 day, and they know that, so then they checked after at the end of 9 months. They didn't know she gave birth. So they said, okay, she got married. It's interesting that, they had such tremendous faith in our birth rate that from the minute you get married, we're just popping the kids out in 9 months. Okay, fine. And the truth is that if you're in a frum situation, 9 times out of 10, within 9 months, if you go take 10 months, 11 months, then people are saying, you're all right, is everything good? Maybe you should get checked by the doctor. Okay, so it's not such a strange thing. So now what happens? So now she can't hide him anymore. The Egyptians are going to look for the baby. V'tikach lo teva gomez. So now she took for him a box, a box of reeds. She made a reed basket. That's a wicker basket. Okay, v'tachmara b'chem ruzaf, and she smeared it with pitch and mud, pitch and clay.
What's the difference between teva and aron?
Teva is a box, and an aron would be a place you're going to put things. Right. So
box.
Right.
And aron is also like a
and aron is going to They're both similar.
Yeah.
Right. And aron, but an aron is more a closet, or you think more a closet today? An aron is more a closet.
Isn't that what we also in Hebrew call a coffin?
Yeah.
Aron?
Yeah. It's also true. Yeah. So like I said, Vatas body Ella. So she smeared. Like I said, she smeared it with the clay and the pitch. Why did she do it both ways? If you look at the story of Noah, speaking of Noah here, what is Noah? Noah is pitch inside and outside, and pitch smells badly. Okay, so it says Rashi brings down that is in order that he should not, that tzaddik should not smell the bad smell of pitch. Wait. So what he does is he covers it with clay on the inside, pitch on the outside. Unlike Noah, who had to pitch on the inside and outside. Why? Because Noah had hot waters shooting at the ark, and that would have been a bad situation. And so you had to do what you had to do. So it had to be pitched inside and outside. Yeah.
It might be easily explained, but they understood. They learned that.
Who's they?
The
rabbis?
No, the
Egyptians?
No, Israel. Whoever was Moshe's mother didn't give a name yet. But
okay.
Okay,
Yocheved.
Yocheved. She understood apparently the whole. Everybody knows pitch stinks, but the story that they didn't use wax in the ark because they get hot water and stuff, so they use it here because it smells bad, or pitch.
Clay.
Pitch. They use clay here because pitch smells bad and you can block that.
Right.
So if they can bring that down, how did they forget 17 years where their grandfather had bought a place of land? What are you talking about? The forefathers.
Well, you're comparing two stories at this point. Okay, so you're comparing the story of Yaakov saying, "I buried the kids. I was bury me in the cave of Machpelah, which was bought from Avram Avinu." Right? That's you asking, and so that was only 17 years ago compared to, and this is now you're comparing. Your comparison is not comparable, by the way. The reason is because just for the people on in YouTube land. Okay, what you're doing is trying to compare it to the Noah story, which we just brought down. Okay, when the reason it's not comparable is because when Yocheved was making the basket, she did not have in mind Noah. She had in mind, I just need to save my baby. So if I put a wicker basket in the water without any floating material, it's going to sink. And my baby's going to die. I don't want my baby to die. So I need to have it waterproof. So I'm going to put pitch on the bottom. I also don't need him to smell it. That's not nice. So I'm going to coat it with clay. That's just a matter of knowing what can float and what can't, and what, and so on and so forth. It's not a matter of, oh, I remember Noah. I don't think she was such. She may have known the history. I don't know. We all know some, just as we all know some Greek mythology, if not to compare the two with the Chas v'Shalom, but we may know some of those things, but we don't know everything about it. So, she may have known the Noah story, and she may have thought about it. I don't think she did, though. I think she just was a matter of, I have to save my baby, and if I make this basket, it's going to sink. So I have to make it waterproof. But he doesn't have to smell the stuff. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's not comparable.
From the comparison that was made, it seemed like it.
Rashi's just explaining why she wouldn't put pitch inside and outside like Noah had. If I want to make it really waterproof, that would be the smartest thing to do. Okay, that's all. That's the only reason Rashi. Right. Sorry?
Same thing as Yosef. Decided he wouldn't smell the bad smells.
So that same thing as Yosef was being brought down to Mitzrayim. Yeah, so that's why he went with the Egyptians, the Ishmaelim or Midianites, whoever he was coming down with. Whoever had. So they say that the Midianites really were part of the Ishmael caravan, which is why I just said, whoever's going down, you're right, they came down with spices so the tzaddik wouldn't smell bad stuff. Good. Okay, so now what happens? Vatasim body, so she puts the baby, he puts the boy in it, Vatasem besuf, in the reeds, al safari, or by the shore of the river. Okay, she's not throwing him. It's not a Grand Rapids she's throwing him to. She's putting him in the reeds. And why is she putting him in the reeds, by the way?
So it'd be hidden, I guess.
From the Egyptians. What's her desire, though?
To come back.
Come back! So she's putting in the baby in the river. Okay. If somebody comes along, it happens. But she's betting that she put it in a place where they're not going to see the baby. If they don't see the baby, as long as the baby doesn't start crying, she's all set. So what do? You feed the baby before. I'm just saying. I'm reading into the story here. She fed the baby before she put him in. Go to sleep, little baby. Please don't cry. That sort of thing. And you put him down nicely, and you walk away. That's no big deal. Okay. What?
Make sure it's anchored.
Maybe it's what?
Make sure it's anchored.
Oh, okay. Well, it's anchored because it's in the reeds,
right.
So it's not going to go anywhere.
And it's made of...
right, so it's going to blend in nicely. It's going to blend in nicely. That's the whole shot. Okay, so now what happens? So now his sister, Miriam, stays at a distance. She stations herself at a distance. Ladea, to know what will happen to him. She wants to know. Okay, now what's her shot? Well, what's going on with her? You could say that she said to her mother, Mommy, I have a good idea. You put him in the reeds. I'm going to stay and I'm going to watch. Because what's the odds who's going to take him? Say it again?
Another Jew?
No, another Jew wouldn't take the baby because it means he'll be killed. So, and the other baby is, why would I take a baby that's in the reeds anyway? But the odds are that some Egyptian is going to come. So I want to know where the baby's going. She didn't at all assume that the baby would die. Because she's the one, again, midrashically, who told her parents, what happened was her parents divorced. When Pharaoh gave the decree that you have to kill the baby boys. So the parents, Amram and Yocheved, were originally married. Then it says they got divorced each other. Because Amram said, I don't want to bring a baby into the world who's going to be killed. If it's a boy who's going to be killed, I don't want to do that. So Miriam said, no, you can't do, your decree is worse than Pharaoh's. Pharaoh only killed the boys. You're killing both generations. You can't do that. So they listened to their 6-year-old daughter, and that's why it says the man from Levi took the woman from Levi, and so on and so forth. Fine. So they got together. And now they're having, so now, because she had that prophecy, there's a lot that goes on midrashically. The parent is saying, Amram says to her daughter, you told me that I'm going to give birth to a Mashiach, and this is what you're doing. He's going to be thrown into the river. Well, what happened to Mashiach now? So she's dafka watching to say what's happening, what's going to happen to him. I have to know, okay? Wow. So that's why she's going to see what's happening. Fine. Now what happens is, V'tered bat paro l'irchos al yor. Now paro batya bitya. Sorry, batya. How did I say the name? Batya bitya. I forget how they say their name. I'm pretty sure it's batya instead of bitya. But okay, fine. V'tered bat paro l'irchos al yor. And bat paro went down to wash by the river. Now, why is she washing by the river?
She's probably going to the bathroom.
Oh, it's simple. I like the simple explanation. Could be. According to Rashi, she is converting. She doesn't like what her father has done. She doesn't agree with the father. She's leaving Avodah Zarah, and she's saying, leave me alone.
Wow.
And so she's going down to the river to immerse herself to get rid of all the schmutz. What?
Southern baptism, yeah.
Say it again?
Southern baptism.
Southern baptism?
When they put them in the river.
Okay.
So anyway, but what do you call it?
Southern Baptists would be happy that you guys know that. Go ahead.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that would explain. I had a question.
Go ahead.
Question was, why are you going to the Hebrew section of the town? Because I don't think Miriam would take Miriam or her mother would take the baby all the way to the palace and hide it in the reeds by the palace. They probably bring it
Well, they're going by They're going by to the Nile.
But to the closest way. They're probably not going to go to the palace to the palace.
Okay, I hear.
If she's converted,
right.
She would also go away from the
But you would not bring your baby to the Jewish section of town and expect it to survive. You want to bring it to the river. The main river was the Nile.
Okay.
I mean, that's why you go into the Nile. What?
So putting it to the wild part of the Nile.
No, she put it to the calm part. Not
in town.
Right. Correct.
Was it closest to? Was it closest to the Egyptian?
Well, again, I'm guessing it's the same area.
Yeah, but Bubba's thing is it the Jewish side of the river or is it the Egyptian side of the river, as it were? How would that work?
I would assume that would be on the what you're calling the Jewish side.
Right.
I would assume. Again, she wants to pick the baby up again. Right.
So then Bubba's second thing was, so then the Egyptian daughter, the princess, came to that side.
No, she's going by her side. She's going to hear the baby. That's all.
Okay.
She's going to hear a baby.
Oh.
So that again, you have to go into the part. We stopped in the middle of the verse. Okay, so she went down to the river. Her handmaidens are going with her. Okay, and suddenly she sees a basket in the midst of the reeds. Okay, she sends her amata. What does amata mean? Okay, you have a dagesh in the hay, which would mean her. So now what's amma mean? Does amma mean handmaiden, or does it mean arm? Arm. My arm is an amma. That's why you say it's an amma, right? The measure is an amma. From here to here is an amma. So now, if that's the case, did she send her amma, her arm out, or did she send her handmaiden out? That's the question that's on the table. Okay, and she took it, and she took the baby. Now what happens? Again, according to Rashi, simple explanation is she sent her handmaiden. She said, "See that basket over there? Go take a swim. I'm the queen after all." What?
Did she not hear it?
No, she saw a basket in the reeds. The baby did not cry. That's the point. The baby did not cry, and she sees a basket over there. So she says to her handmaiden, "Go get that basket." Okay, because it was near the water. Remember, you wouldn't see it from the shore, but you will see it from the water. Okay, so that's one explanation. Then Rashi says another one. At Yadoshi Rava Amata Amod Harbe. What happened, according to this, the midrash is that she reached out and suddenly her hand became very, very, very long, and she reached it and pulled it. Now, of course, we have many nightmares about this. This is not I mean, if you think about suddenly she's going out, that's not what you would be thinking. She was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" My arms reaching out that far. Okay, so we have the midrash, by saying that, really could be interpreted. I once heard this interpretation. I was at a Torah Masorah convention, and I always remembered and liked it. It doesn't mean that she literally put her hand out and it stretched out. What it means is that she took responsibility and it came under her power. and you're not going to touch the queen's, the princess's things. You're just not going to touch that. It comes under her jurisdiction. That means she stretched out her arm. Okay, that's it. You can take it either way. But if you have, I'm sure you saw it from your kids when they used to. They always have the thing where their arm goes out like this. Okay, yeah.
Like I forget what verse this is from or exactly what it is, but when God stretched out his arm, when it talks about that.
No, because God's stretching out his arm. Yeah. Oh, you mean by taking over jurisdiction?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be the same thing. Yes. Okay. So now what happens? She sees that, but Tiftach, she opened the basket. I mean, that's what she's doing. And she saw it. She saw the boy. In other words, I'm translating literally. Really, she saw the boy. But it says, the reason I'm translating it like that is because Vatir Ehu means, and she saw it, or him. She saw it or him, right? And then it says, Et Hayeled, the boy. So if you look at here, it's probably going to say she saw the boy. She's the woman. Where is it?
Saw him.
No, it says she saw him, the boy.
Oh, saw him, the boy. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's now you're forced to ask, what is him? What is him? Why do you say him?
It seems like you're duplicating a phrase or something.
Right. So Rashi says, Et mi ra'ata, who did she see? The boy. That's a simple explanation. According to the Midrash, she saw with him the divine presence of God. She saw something else. According to others, she saw it. He was circumcised. Or he was born circumcised. According to many Mefarshim, he was born circumcised. Who's the only people who circumcised themselves or their children? Jews. And thus her response, and then it goes more. So she saw it. She saw the boy. Whatever she saw, circumcised, not circumcised, whatever. Vine na boche, and suddenly the boy cried. And all this time, the child hasn't cried. Now the child cries. Why? The rabbis say that Gabriel came and smacked him. Said, you better cry, or she won't have compassion on you. Okay, because she sees this is a Jewish kid. Whether or not she agrees with the father, her handmaids are telling her, hey lady, this is a Jewish kid. Your father said all these kids have to die. Okay, so v'hinei nar, this boy, boche cried, v'tachamol alav, and she had compassion on him. Okay, a woman cannot, no woman, well I shouldn't say no woman, I'm sure some women can't, but most women cannot stand a crying baby. A man can stand a crying baby. We give it to the girl. That's how we do it. But most guys don't care if they, unless it's their baby, they don't try to hold somebody else's baby. That's just the way it is. When there's a new baby in town, you do it? Okay.
No.
Oh, right. When it's a new baby and it's somebody else's baby, you don't see the guy going, oh, can I please hold? I mean, some people, I'm not going to argue everybody. But for the most part, they're not going, oh, women love to hold babies.
Yeah.
It's a maternal instinct.
Yeah.
And I know all the women with libbers out there are going to yell at me. Okay, fine, yell at me all you want. But it's a natural thing. We don't do it. Now, again, there are some that go both ways. I'm not going to argue that. There's some women who don't want to hold babies, some men who do want to hold babies, fine. But I'm just saying, in general, they don't. So here, the baby was crying. She couldn't resist. V'tachmol alav. She had compassion. V'tomer, she says, Miyalde Ivrim zeh. This is a Jewish baby. Okay. Question is, how'd she know?
Yeah.
How'd she know it's a Jewish baby? No, simple explanation. How'd she know?
It was circumcised.
That means she had to open up the diaper. So that's not so simple. Go ahead. Another way.
Was it still glowing?
No.
Okay.
It's not called because it was hidden in the reeds. Who else puts the babies in the river?
What about in our own day and age here? I mean, people get rid of babies.
No. That's true. That you have people who get rid of babies and they throw them in the garbage and so on and so forth. But this was not. You didn't get rid of the baby. You put the baby in a self-contained world, if you will, and you took care of him. And you put
concerned that the person had who put the baby there.
Right. So they said, who would hide a baby? Oh, Zem Yalde. What's the expression? Miyalde Hivrim. This is a child from the Jews. That's a simple explanation. The other explanation is what you said. That she saw the bris milah. She knew it was a baby because who else circumcises their kids? Yeah. Nobody else is circumcising the kids. It's not normal, and certainly in those days, it wasn't normal. Okay, so what?
From what I read, it's becoming more normal today too. That they don't.
Really, it's going
No,
back.
it's the opposite.
You don't read that?
No, it's more circumcision.
It's kind of
You-
really well. Then
yeah,
it's swung a couple times then.
Okay. Whatever the case is going to be.
realize.
So she says that Vatomer Achoto. So what happens? Now the sister wakes up. Miriam wakes up. She sees. It's an expression.
Okay.
Okay. She wakes up and she says, "Oh, Vatomer Achoto el Bat Paro." Now his sister Miriam goes to Bat Paro. And she says that. Should I go and call for you a nursemaid from the Jews? Okay, and she can give suck to the boy at a yellet. Okay, so here suddenly Miriam comes up. Bat Paro found a baby. And she says, we're assuming she said, this is a Jewish baby. Good. So now suddenly Miriam pops out of the bushes and says, hey, hi. I'm 6 years old, yeah. And I'd like to know, should I go and should I get a Jewish nursemaid to nurse your baby?
But you're looking. You can't say that because Rivka was 3 when she married.
Stop.
Which
You're not hearing what I want to get to. Forget the age for a second.
But she popped up out of
She
nowhere.
popped up out of nowhere, going to her and saying, I can get you a Jewish nursemaid. What's wrong with her nursemaids? What's wrong with the Egyptian nursemaids?
Oh.
What's wrong with Batya? Maybe she shouldn't have babies. She doesn't have any milk in her. She has her own nursemaids. This Bat Paro! For crying out loud. It's not a poor person from the west side of... Well, they probably have bread. Okay, won't pick on the west side here either. But it's not somebody who's bereft of ability to get milk. Why is this girl coming and how did she get access? Think about what's going on. She's getting access. You talked about how close are they to the castle, if it were. She's getting access to Bat Paro. That's pretty good. It's like me being able to walk up to... I know I'm going to be yelled at for this, but Ivanka Trump, right? Yeah. Now, those who would go to her shul actually probably do get the access, but it's. But imagine, having such a relationship that I can just go and say, "Yeah, excuse me, Bat Paro, I have this. I can get you a girl if you want." So, and why'd she go? What was even the question? So Rashi says that. Mind you, don't forget, the baby was crying, which probably means that besides Gabriel hitting him, that's the easy way to say it, but she probably was hungry. And if I'm hungry, again, a woman wants to, they didn't have bottles. I don't think they had bottles. No. It was breastfeeding. So you're going to give me a breast. Now the problem is that the baby didn't take from the breast milk, wasn't willing to nurse. And so why Rashi says, because he was a tzaddik, and he couldn't have milk that was tameya. He knew so they couldn't have the non-kosher, he had to have Chalav Yisrael. Okay. He had to have Chalav Yisrael, no Chalav stuff. Okay, so he had to have that. Now, you can go with that, and that's perfectly fine. I have no problem with that. I once heard, but I've been yelled at about this too. The Gemara, I believe, says, I think it's the Gemara in Ketubot, that says that after 3 months of nursing, the baby will not take from anybody else but the mother. That's what I've heard. People have argued with me continually and said that's not true. They will take. When they're hungry, they'll do it. So I don't know if it's an exclusive nursing that causes that 3 months or not. Rashi doesn't go with that Gemara at all. Rashi just brings down that it's because he was going to speak with the divine Shechina, and that's why she didn't. That's why Moshe wouldn't drink. Now, as a result of that, if she's not, if he is not nursing from all the women that she has, so that's why Miriam can come and say, "Hey, you know what? I can get you a nurse, a woman to nurse from the Hebrews." And so what she say? She says, "Go." So now the young lady goes. Again, it's a 6-year-old. Yeah. She's going, and she calls the mother of the boy, which is her mother. And now what happens? So Bat Paro says to the mother, Helichi et hayeled azeh, take this boy, venikihuli, and nurse him for me, vani atin et secharech, and I will give you your reward, and I was going to pay you to nurse the kid. So here is the first time that a mother gets paid to be nursing her own child. That's very nice. Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Let me just finish one thing. Vatikach ha'isha, so the woman took the baby. Vatikach ha'isha hayelet, the woman took the baby. Vatnikeu, and she nursed him. Yeah. It will be for 2 years.
So we know that the Gemara fills in a lot of blanks. Is there also like time periods here that we're not, that just straight reading of the Torah is not giving us because what you said before that the baby wouldn't nurse, are we building some extra time in here that they tried to nurse him?
Yeah.
So this doesn't really, this straight reading of the Torah doesn't give us those little intervals.
Well, I don't think that there's much time being spent. In other words, the baby's crying.
Yeah.
And so what happens is now, if the baby's crying, so now they try to give it to a nursemaid.
Oh.
And so the
Everyone
nurse
doesn't say that though.
No, that's right. It doesn't say that. That's all.
So there could be maybe they went back to the palace already. Or she maybe.
Well, I don't think they went back.
Within her entourage, she may have had a nurse.
Well, that's probably what happened. She probably had somebody there, or said bring somebody down. There's certainly time being killed here, but the Torah never filled. But that's why the Torah is filling in. That's why Rashi's filling in that he wouldn't take from anybody's breast. Sure. So he wasn't nursing. So if you're not nursing, so now Miriam can come up and present her business deal. Should I do this?
We don't see that time.
Right. It's probably a couple of hours.
Yeah,
I'm guessing a couple of hours because they had to check. I mean, if
because that's the first thing you want to do. You want to start.
Right, you want to start nursing the baby, and the baby wasn't taken from anybody. So fine. So she gives it to the mother. Now what happens? The boy grew up, which means he was weaned, which means he's 2 years old. That's all it is, 2 years old. And so again, the rabbis fill in that in the 2 years that they were with his mother, that he was with his mother instilled with him a lot that he's Jewish, and that he should have a feeling for his family, extended family, and more than that, don't say anything. Okay, don't talk about it. But you should just know you're Jewish. Okay. So what happens? And she brought him to Bat Paro. And he was to her son. And she called him Moshe. Why? Because I drew him out from the water. Mashal is to draw, so I called him Moshe. Now his Hebrew, according to our scroll, his Egyptian name was Monius, which means he was drawn from the water. Moshe is a Hebrew translation of that word.
What was the Egyptian word?
Moni, if I'm saying it right, Monius, Monis, something like that. What? Monius? I doubt Monius is how they said it, but okay. But in other words, there was an Egyptian name there, but the Torah is not going to go through that headache to give it to us, to every single name. Moshe had, I think, 10 or 11 names. One is a Victor and so on and so forth. There's a whole bunch of names he has. Different things going on in his life. That's all. But it's like everybody else. You have different aspects. So, but he again, he has different names. Let's leave it like that. But so she calls him that, and she says, because I pulled him out from the water, so that is why I'm going to. But what you're seeing here, I'll have to stop here. Yeah. What you're seeing is an amazing story that he has to wait 2.5 years, 2 years and let's say 2.5 years, just for argument's sake, to get a name. You know, the mother didn't name anything? The answer is that the muster here is that when somebody brings you up, they're the ones that get to name you. In other words, not the birth mother, but now it's the adopted mother. The adopted mother becomes his mother for all intent and purposes. And he has to show respect to that. So she gets to name him. he will also be brought up by her. The question is, what will Yocheved have? Will she have any input to this or not in his upbringing? It seems that she already did from the 2 years that she was with him, because that's how the Meforshim explain why he, in the next thing he says, he went out to see the people, his people. How did he know it was his people, and so on and so forth. So, that seems to be what's going on. But what I always find amazing is there's so much hidden in the story. Why she put him into the reeds, why she held him for 3 months, why, all these whys and wherefores that went into it that people just fly over. But there's really a lot to every single aliyah that we really have to pay attention to, and that's why Rashi is so instrumental here. But also the other Meforshim, if you want to stay out of Midrash, you would go to the Rashbam, or if you want to get psychological, sometimes it goes to Forno, and so on and so forth. It's just a lot going on here. That again, I always like to say that I only gave you a little part of it, but it's up to you to go for the rest.
Appreciate it. It's
Okay.
for life once.
Yeah.